You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. The Kanneh-Masons are a 7-strong set of siblings who have garnered attention for their outstanding musical abilities. Whether they're playing as part of the family band or on their own, each musician's talents are apparent and abundant. One sibling, Jeneba Kanneh-Mason, makes her debut in Winnipeg alongside the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra as part of the group's spring season. And I'm excited to say that Jeneba has joined me in the Classic 107 studio ahead of that performance. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome here and welcome to Winnipeg.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Well, a debut in the city. I have to ask, how are you feeling?
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be wonderful to work with Jerry Lynn Johnson, and I love the Concerto. I love Mozart, and yeah, I haven't seen much of the city yet, but I'm looking forward to exploring.
Well, we're so excited to have you here, and I want to get to the concert, and I want to get to what you're playing and with whom you'll be performing. But I'm curious, you've performed in Canada before, in Vancouver. I think it was last year, right?
Yes, yeah.
That was a concert done alongside your siblings. What's it like crossing the pond again, though this time as a soloist?
Yeah, it's weird because I've never just flying here on my own feels strange. I'm used to spending the whole plane journey next to a sibling. But no, I mean, I'm excited to make my own way and do something, just for me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, excited for you to have that opportunity to do something just for you. But before we get to all of that, let's chat a little bit more about the family. Mm-hmm. You are, just to set the record for listeners, the 5th of the siblings, yes, right?
Yeah.
So I think what's just so fascinating here, and this is something that we've talked about in the lead up to this concert. I mean, it's just a family of musical whizzes is how the MCO has dubbed this one. I think what I want to begin by chatting a little bit about is the fact that I can't imagine there was ever a time in your life in the home that music wasn't happening. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, especially for me, yeah. I think for my eldest sister, she didn't start until she was 6. I think she was just a very quick child, and my parents wanted to give her something to focus on. And then for me, when I was born, I mean, music was just instantly a part of my life.
And it was all types of music too, right?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. I mean, classical predominantly. I mean, that's what we were playing, but we arranged reggae music and loads of different types of music. And my parents grew up with a wide range of music. So.
As has been outlined in articles and profiles that have been done in print and on screen and over the airwaves, your parents, Stuart Mason and Dr. Kariatu Kanneh, aren't musicians but are musical, right?
Yes.
So can you talk more about that? I mean, what's so fascinating here is to have one sibling pursue a classical career is something, right? But to have so many of you establishing yourselves, like, to what do you attribute this dedication and drive that you all seem to have? I
mean, it's definitely mainly my parents, and they're not musicians, but my dad did piano and cello up until 18, and then my mum was clarinet and piano, and then they went on to study English and maths, and now they're doing completely different things. But it meant that they could give us a great foundation, and still they give me loads of advice. And when I go home, my dad's always listening and giving me tips, so which is a good thing and a bad thing.
I mean, and speaking of listening and just thinking about the family dynamic, like on a lighter note, like, how did you even get any practice time in? Like, were there multiple pianos? Was there a rigid schedule? Like, did you wrestle for the bench? Like, how did you get piano time in?
There was a hierarchy.
Yeah,
there was a better piano, which my eldest sister, before I did my grade 8, I had to go on the worst piano. And then after I did my grade 8, it was kind of fair game. And then we'd kind of split up the time evenly throughout the day.
That's absolutely wild. I can only imagine what that was like. And I mean, you weren't just playing piano growing up too, right? You were also playing cello. You're an accomplished cellist. And in those early videos, you're kind of hemming and hawing there. But like, I mean, in those early videos, especially the ones that started to pop up online that we would see even here, in Winnipeg, you were on the cello, right? Performing in the Monty Charadash that I'm sure you guys played, more than a couple times, whether that was just on the internet or on Britain's Got Talent and that incredible run. When did you decide to really pursue the piano, though, Jeneba?
I always wanted to pursue the piano over the cello, actually, because I started the piano 2 years before I did the cello. Huh. But yeah, I was playing the cello for years and years. And yeah, that Chardas piece has been a part of my life for too long now. We've probably reached like 50 times playing or over. But yeah, I mean, I still practice the cello a little bit, and I studied it until I was 18. So
speaking of those studies, you're currently enrolled at the Royal College of Music in London. What's it like managing your performing schedule with your student life? I mean, we know how busy being a student is. We know how busy it is to be a performer. How do you kind of navigate both?
I mean, the Royal College of Music is so supportive all the concerts I have externally, and there are loads of other students who have things going on outside. And I think their main the reason they're so supportive is that's what you want to do when you leave. So they want to encourage that as much as possible.
And you've managed to slip away. It's not like you're skipping out on any finals or anything right now
No,
to make it. Yeah.
I'm doing all my exams and assignments. Yeah.
Perfect. So you're here to perform alongside the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra. Your debut here in the province, performing a little bit of Mozart, 23rd Piano Concerto, K488 in A major. Tell us about your relationship with this piece of music.
So I first heard the second movement when I was quite young, and I just remember listening to it on repeat. There was this recording by Imogen Cooper, and I just found it so beautiful and so intimate and delicate. And I think with Mozart, it's so exposing, but also is so joyous. And I just think there's so much to discover in his music.
That slow movement is, like you say, so intimate, but it's also so almost dark hued, and it's almost like there's something brooding there, and it is absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And then it's bookended by these two very sort of contented movements, if you will. I mean, it's sort of that quintessential Mozart. How do you navigate those kind of different characters that are within the concerto that you're going to be performing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's playing all the movements together. That's how a lot of the time when I practice, I try and run it through as well, just so I can move between the moods very easily. And I'm used to doing that in recital programs when you go from a piece of Chopin to a piece of Bach or whatever. But I think most concertos kind of follow that format, so I've got used to it now.
Yeah. I mean, excited for you to navigate it alongside the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra, led by guest conductor Jerry Lynn Johnson, excuse me. What does it mean to be working alongside her in this performance?
I think it's really great. I mean, I love working with female conductors. I just think there's a nice rapport that seems to happen when I do. And yeah, I think it's great to make my debut there, and I'm really, really grateful to be here. Yeah. Well,
really grateful that you've taken the time to join us here in the Classic 107 studio. Excited for you to perform a little bit of Mozart. I mean, I know you kind of run the gamut in terms of the composers that you've been performing. There's music of Florence Price that you performed. There's also music of Mozart. Was this a concerto of your choosing, or one that was suggested perhaps? How did you settle on the 23rd?
This was completely my choice, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, normally I have a discussion. I mean, I did discuss it with my teacher, but this was very much I really want to play this concerto. And she was like, yeah, go for it. And then, because I've played a couple of the other Mozart concertos before, but this has now become my favorite. So
very excited for you. Wonderful opportunity for us to hear you. 2 performances taking place, a matinee, a condensed program at 1 at the Crescent Arts Center, and then a full evening performance, 7:30. That's coming up on Wednesday, April 10th. Jeneba, thanks so much for joining me here in the Classic 107 studio.
Thank you very much.